Welcome to the Capture Society. This is a podcast for all creatives, no matter your passion or your skill set. Creativity isn't limited to career, ability, skill, or the gear that you have, though those aspects play their roles. Creativity is a passion. It is energy to tell a story. It's inspiring another person, and it's your imagination. This podcast is about the heart of a creative and uncovering the why behind the content. Our episodes will talk about our creative journeys and touch on tips and tricks that we've learned along the way. We will be hosting guests who are passionate about their craft, and we want to answer your questions. Through all this, we hope to inspire others to find the same love and passion that we have for our craft. So let's capture society. We're back. The Capture Society, the podcast that so many people were asking me about, right? So many. Maybe legitimately probably one or two. John asked me about it, and then a couple other people. So that's enough. It looks a little different. Nathan moved, so we really can't film together. We'll probably bring him back on, but we're trying out some different stuff. We've got this program or this website called Riverside. I'm really excited about it. It's basically Zoom or FaceTime. You can bring on people, other collaborators. It supports up to 4K of video and 48 hertz audio. You get individual videos, individual audio. This is like the dream for
it's ideal.
Yes. So for this purpose where you can talk to people and have other people contribute, this will probably be what the Capture Society looks like. However, mission, vision, everything stays the same. It's the Capture Society as it was originally. It just looks a little different. So if you're watching, you can see him. If you're listening, you can hear him. It's none other than John Shellhart.
Greetings all.
What are we calling you? Are we going to go by your Instagram name?
John Von Chon or
are you
John
going to use
Von
one
Tone?
of your many Instagram usernames?
I have so many now. We need to talk about that.
We need to talk about your encounter.
We'll talk about
the
that
church
a different
creative.
Time. We need to hear about why you're. First of all, you're back, but why don't you tell the people what's been going on in the background while you've been away?
So I think the easiest way to put it, right, is that I overpromised and I underdelivered.
Yeah.
And you got to be honest with yourself about that. In a nutshell, my creative journey has taken me a lot of different paths. But in 2020, right, shout out to COVID, people were still getting married. Right. So they needed a filmer, and it seemed that my services were beginning to grow. I was getting a lot more calls, and it shot off. And I don't have an exact number, but basically between 2020 and 2021, I was booking 20 plus weddings.
I know, because I shot some of them for you.
You shot some of them.
And then I lost the footage to the one.
We need to talk.
Its own thing.
It is what it is. When I lived in Kentucky, I lived on my own, as in Nathan was my roommate, but I wasn't married. So I was in every way my own man if I wanted to travel or stay up late or do whatever. So my work method and work ethic was honed. It was set. And then, I book all these weddings and cue, post-COVID blues of, I want to get married. I want to do this. And, I meet this beautiful girl. And, we talk from basically March all the way through August, and we rendezvous in St. Louis where we're filming the virtual general conference, and I take her out on an official date.
Rendezvous.
Yeah. I just wanted to use that word. And so we go on an official date, and I knew pretty much that was the one. And within a day of us having our date, I was approached about the job here at headquarters in St. Louis. She was approached, or she had already applied but interviewed for a job at Urshan. So now I'm dating this girl. I'm in love with her, and we're both going to be moving to St. Louis. So I know what's coming. Like, we're going to get married, right? So ta-da, like, I get the job. I proposed to her in January of 2021, but I still got all this work. I still got all these weddings that I've booked, and now I've moved cities. And so, like, I'm not charging people for the extra mileage. I'm not charging people for all the stuff that I changed, because I was like, I moved, so I'm just going to be a nice guy.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing what a husband looks like and how I need to be there for my wife. And I can't just stay up late all night and not talk to her. I can't just come home from work and get on my computer on the couch and just not do anything. Like, my whole world shifted.
Your
not even
work-life
to mention
balance, like, flipped.
Not even to mention the work that I was doing here, my job.
Full-time work. Not
so yeah. So all that to say,
the full-time, not including the side stuff.
The full-time, not including the full-time. So all that to say, I hit a huge wall as a creative, and I started having stuff fall through, and it got so bad where it wasn't where I could just work the most efficient to make everybody happy. It was like I had to pick somebody. Am I going to make my boss happy Monday through Friday? Am I going to make my wife happy? Am I going to make the people that have hired me happy? And all these worlds.
That's so real.
Yeah, all these worlds just kept overlapping, and I would prioritize one, and then I'd get a slap on the wrist at my job for not getting something done in time.
Yep.
And so I'd prioritize my job, and then I would get a slap on the wrist from the people that had hired me, and then I'd have my wife all upset because she's like, we haven't done anything, or you're just so busy all the time.
Imagine that the person that you're in a relationship wants love and attention.
Dude, what's nuts is my first year here, I was gone more weekends than I was here. I didn't serve at my church hardly at all. And so all that to say, like, no excuses aside, I messed up. My workload was overwhelming. My quality of work dropped. My deliverables dropped. I started missing deadlines, and I just couldn't keep up with the stress and the anxiety. And I don't want to necessarily drop the anxiety or the depression word, but I feel like in this instance, I had to admit it to myself.
It happens, especially when you're in that position. Like, it's hard not to.
And I think the scariest thing, and I think what I want this podcast to be, and it's going to be a shorter one because, welcome back. We're here. We're going to try to do this, do it right, and keep it up and be consistent with it. I think the scary thing for me was I realized I was at a place as a creative where I was so overwhelmed with anxiety and depression that I didn't even want to touch my camera anymore. I didn't want to touch my computer. I didn't want to edit. I didn't want to work on stuff.
Yep.
And I was so depressed again because now I'm like, the thing that I love, the thing that I was passionate about, like, I don't even want to do it.
It was like just like eating your life up.
Oh, yeah.
I watched you go through it.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
The whole point of this episode is to just kind of, be a little bit transparent, that like as a person, I needed to prioritize my life. I needed to step back and understand that there are other things to be done. And it really was one moment. I was at an event and I was serving and I was excited. I was pumped. And someone came up to me that was in this mix of all this stuff that was going on and admitted to me after talking to me personally, they were like, man, like knowing what you're working on and your workload, like it makes so much sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then they said something, they're like, well, everyone just thinks that, you're just devoted to your podcast or your personal stuff. And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what, maybe I don't need to be doing that right now. Well, maybe like I need to give it up, come back.
Which was a good decision. But on the flip side of that, like, I know you, and you don't post the weddings that you finish.
Ever.
So no one saw 20 weddings get cranked out.
Yeah.
No one saw that.
No. I don't post a lot of my stuff anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, it leads into a lot. I mean, like my whole view of social media changed. My whole view of how I post changed. I was so overwhelmed and so anxious that people would be upset with me or upset at something I had done, that if I posted anything about going out with my wife or going to something with my family, that like it would just turn into
Yeah,
something.
why aren't you in the den making your videos, video
Right.
boy?
Right. So if you follow me, like I made Brax.creative so I could literally just dump my photos and not worry about it. I made Brax.film so I could just dump my film and not worry about it.
And I copied you on all of those because I also needed that.
I think the weird thing though is the like the icing on, not the icing on the cake. The little like happy glimpse, or like the just that like the weird just resolve of it all that's actually good is that it seriously changed the way that I view my social media, and that like I can travel now and not feel the desire to just, oh my God, I got to tell everybody what I did.
Yeah.
And when I do though, I'm invested in it more. So like when my wife and I have gone out on a special date, or we've, gone to some random treehouse cabin an hour and a half from here and stay for a couple of nights for our anniversary, it doesn't have to be like super like Instagram worthy.
Show everybody it's picturesque. Everybody gets a piece of the pie.
Exactly. And so it really made me dial it back a little bit and just kind of enjoy life. And now I feel like I'm the old guy that's like out of check with reality, and I'm not on social, but
no, that makes you the guy who's more in tune to reality. It's very difficult to detach yourself from a society that has become so social media like
driven. So
I guess driven. I feel like that's not the word, but it's like it's just so integrated into daily life.
Yeah.
Like
it's our medium. It's
like everything almost.
Well, I mean, you think about like early creatives. The goal was like get printed in a magazine, get in a newspaper, get your article printed.
Yeah.
Now it's like famous. Get likes on social media, get reposted, make it on the Explore page. Get
100,000 followers so you can monetize and sell.
It's like it's the Achilles heel. It's like it's such a great opportunity, but it can be so detrimental to your mental state. So I think for me, like, I'm coming out of it. Like I was talking with you about my view of this, and I kept telling myself I'm ready to talk to people again. I'm ready to talk about this because, spoiler alert, I didn't quit. I didn't throw in the towel. I didn't say I'm done with creative work. I didn't say I'm never going to do this again and I'm just going to go work a 9-to-5 job that's, pressing buttons. And I stayed in it, and it was hard and it was tough. And there was a lot of like sleepless nights. There was a lot of tears and moments of prayer and moments of just straight agony, telling my wife of, this is what I'm dealing with, this is what I'm struggling with. And it was hard. It was rough. It was tough. And I hope no one has to go through that. I think the fact remains, though, that as creatives, at some point, multiple times, you're going to hit a wall. You're going to hit a block of whether it's creative, writer's block, where you just can't get out of this funk and nothing feels fun anymore, or you're so overwhelmed with work that it just like nothing feels fun. And I think the kind of overarching kind of thought today is like, how as a creative do you navigate that? Because it's coming and you're going to hit it at some point. So for you, how do you, when you hit that moment, right? You've done IBC Live now for a couple of years or more, and you've edited so many content surrounding that genre of music and color grading. And, what do you do to keep yourself interested that it's not boring anymore?
Oh, dude, you know what? I wasn't going to answer this way until just now, probably. But sometimes it's just boring. That's what I've had to learn, dude. Like, sometimes it's just boring and I don't want to do it. And I've gone down some weird tangents where I start to wonder, like, do I have ADD or ADHD or something? Because it's so hard to get myself to want to do stuff sometimes. It's like there's a wall in my brain that's just like, I don't want to do this, and I'm not going to let your body get out of this car. And you have to sit in the car for like 5 minutes before I go inside. I have a video up right now that's dropping tomorrow. So like when you're watching this video, I saw one and no other name's already going to be dropped.
Yeah.
But like, bro, it's not fun sometimes. Like, I think getting over that and understanding discipline outperforms passion, or what's the word? I don't know. Encourage. What's the word for that? It's not about like enthusiasm or whatever. Like, it's not about being excited about it. It's about disciplining yourself when you don't want to do it. Like,
it's conditioning.
Yeah, it's
I was just
a lot
listening.
of things I think in life come down to that the older you get, because things start to lose their luster, and you learn what sacrificial love looks like.
Yes.
Both in relationships, in ministry, in work, because after a while it's like, bro, I've already done this, you know, and I'm trying new things to innovate, but like I've done like 10 videos and I've innovated a little. I've tried some new things with like glow effects and playing with how I get the lights to react to different things and trying to get different.
I think that's the answer right there, where it's going to get boring, but you know, you learn yourself. Like, is it trying a different color grading method? Is it taking someone's class on how to color grade to make you completely rethink the way you do it? Is it color grading in DaVinci instead of Premiere? Is it tackling a different program to just keep those like bad. Yeah.
Being bored means it's time for you to like level up, because everything that you've done has become so second nature that like it's not exciting. You're not trying anything new.
It's progressive overload.
Time to grow. Yeah, it's time to grow. Like if you're that bored, like it's time for you to do something new that like challenges yourself. So like,
well, like you lift a lot. I used to lift a lot. Now I'm more of a cyclist, but a lot of the training mental states are the same. It's like at some point for me, the 20-mile-an-hour training route is going to become too easy, and I'm going to have to push to 25 miles an hour. If I always try to chase the same level of adrenaline but going the same speed, it's not going to work. If I'm wanting the same level of adrenaline that I got when I hit 225 on the bench, I'm not going to get it when I hit 225 for 10 on the bench. I
still haven't, and I'm so mad. Here's my problem. I keep doing the power building thing, and I'll get really strong really fast because it's a good program, and then I'll be like, I want to deadlift 405, and I'll hit it one time, and then I'm wrecked for like a week and a half, and it ruins the whole program for me because I get ahead of myself. And I can't just stick to a regimented program, which is a whole other
thing. Is like, what are you doing to ground yourself? So like when you know that I've hit a block, it's not fun anymore, but I know that I can achieve the A, B's, and C's of content creation and get a good video out. It's not
cliche, honestly, but it's don't let perfect ruin good.
Yeah. I've heard it so many different ways.
Like it doesn't have like Brother Kilman at school. It doesn't have to be pretty. It just has to be done. Which when people are paying you for it to be pretty, that's different.
Yeah,
but
that's the hard part.
When I know my color grade's good, even if I don't love it, like the video has to go out. Like, I can't sit here and tweak it forever. Like if there's one spot where this one little thing or like the skin tone's just a little wonky, and this one like half a second clip or something, like dude. 90% of people, like the only people that care are the people like in our group text that are like, yeah, I saw that clip. Those skin tones are a little
dude, magenta. That's the hard part, is that we get stuck in this rut of editing for the 10%.
Like you live in a bubble.
You get stuck. Yeah, you get stuck in this rut.
You're talking to all people who are like,
you get stuck in this place where it's like you're editing for the approval of those that are around you, which is good. Like I want my peers that are at my level or better, you know, or just in the same industry. I want them to approve of it and give me opinions. If it's critique, it's peer review, you know, but like, you've also got to know your crowd, know your output. You know, a former boss of mine, he would say, don't mess up good for perfect on content. And I was like, great. So that means I can just, you know, if I'm not there yet, I'll give you something good. That he like added to the statement though. So he would say, you know, you can't mess up good for perfect, but how do we make this 1% better? And that little phrase at the end just drove me nuts, because I was like, a lot of times they were chasing that 1%. And now I'm seeing as a creative, like we're often chasing the little 1% marginal changes that make it better for us. But you know, knowing when you've reached the satisfaction point, right? Like, yes, this is a creative market. You're being paid for your mental ability to put art to paper, art to screen, whatever. Like, they're paying for your mind. But knowing what that room looks like it's not just one single, like, boom, like that's done. Like, there's a margin where I think all creatives, depending on your client, know, like, you have a little bit of room, right? Like, I know for my work here, like, I just sent John a video the other day that I did, and he was like, this is not you. Like, it's very stock footage-ish.
Yeah.
Because for me, like, wouldn't fit my smaller room for error. Like, I have a very small margin in my personal work of what I want it to look like. But here, it's not bad. It just, I know that I can get there for less, and I can save a lot of time. I can get something done quickly. So
That's
yeah.
definitely made things feel a little like lackluster in some ways. Like when as you like transition into maybe like higher paid gigs where the client wants more input on things, sometimes you have to like do stuff that like you don't like, and that it's not better.
Yeah.
They want it and they're paying for it. And
yeah.
Like, it kind of kills that child inside of you that's like, oh, I wanted to just make like beautiful masterpieces.
Yeah.
And you're doing stuff that's just like everything inside of you, all the gears are grinding, and you're just like, I hate this right now.
It's corporate versus creative. It's really what it comes down to.
And sometimes you have to take gigs like that, and learning the difference, I think, is one of the biggest things. Is like there are like love pieces that are things that are like, or what is a passion project? There are things that you're passionate about, and there are things that you do because it needs to be done, and it's not necessarily as critical that you love it as it existing.
Yeah.
Because the client wants to make something that brings value to other people, and whether you like the color grade or like the style of how it's shot doesn't really matter.
Right.
You know,
I think for me, like, going back to the beginning conversation, is that, you know, I'm a people pleaser. I always joke that this is the worst industry for me to work in, because I care so much about what people think. And so the second that I felt that foundation like fracturing of like, wow, there's so many people that are angry with me right now. I felt like I couldn't escape it, and that I couldn't recover from it. And, you know, again, I'm in no way excusing or downplaying the situation. I made a huge mistake, lots of mistakes, and I'm still suffering those consequences of, I understand that there are relationships that will never be the same, that there are probably places that my reputation is tarnished. And I think taking this more towards the ministry side, I have to know that, like, I made that, and I own that, and that's the consequence of my mistake. I don't want to say like the consequence of my sin. Like, it's not.
I mean, that's what that lesson costs you, though.
Yeah. And I have to own that. And I'm fortunate that, like, you know, the priorities that I picked, I can still pay my bills. I have a happy marriage. I'm still happily employed. I realize that a side of my market is gone. Like, and to call it like it is, I have a business that failed. I went into debt because of repaying for things that I did wrong. Like, I had an LLC. I let it lapse. I didn't pay for it again. I had something fail and mess up. And if I've learned anything in life, it's like, that's almost common. It's like, so what? And I think what I want to make sure that, whether you're a young creative listening to this, or whether you're in this and you've been in it for a while, whether you're not, maybe you don't even identify as a creative, maybe you just are in ministry or something, right? Like, mistakes, they teach us things, and our ability to process and talk it out and learn and grow. It's like we're who we are because someone in my past learned from their mistakes and raised me better because of it, right? Like everybody's going to do that. And I think for me, I had to quickly learn that like, I'm not going to get disowned. I'm not going to get blown off, planet Earth because I messed up. Now, I could have kept...
Not by everybody.
No. I could have kept trying to push that narrative of like trying to hold on to something I knew was failing rather than just like waking up and accepting my existence that like someone's going to be upset with me and I've got to prioritize, right? And I think it's important that as creatives we're constantly like gauging ourselves, and I hope no one gets to that point where you've got people angry at you or people upset with you or trying to fix something or whatever. I hope it ends with you in your room or your office just feeling overwhelmed and it being just you singularly, right? Where you can get yourself out of it. Because if I can get out of what I got out of, and I know John's gone through some stuff, but I think there's benefits to that, and it's going to make you a stronger creative. And the capture society, right? We're a society of people that make this a ministry, that are ministry minded. Ultimately, like I don't do this for myself, and that I think was the hardest part too, was feeling like something that I use as ministry was being tainted because of something I did wrong, and like I felt that I was unfair to God, like. Measly old me, you've given me all these opportunities to serve and have opportunities that I can't even fathom. And yet here I am messing it up. And I was angry at myself, but again, not to ramble or to really boast about a situation. Like there are things that have happened in the last year that I could not have even dreamt up. And that's not because of me. I honestly know it's because in that situation, I was honest with myself and I gave it to God and I did the best I could, but I never quit. I didn't throw in the towel. So I don't know if you have anything else to say on this topic of just like hitting a wall, hitting a block.
I mean, sometimes. So I'm like a month behind right now. But it's so yeah, I mean, just being transparent, like that's where I'm at. I'm like a month behind, but it's not because of things that like I didn't do it on purpose. Like,
you don't wake up in the morning and
intent,
say,
like, I'm just gonna be
not going to edit. Yeah, I'm not gonna edit this. I'm just not
like
gonna
it was
do it.
not that at all. It was like, okay, so we shot IBC in 6K for like every single angle, right?
Yeah.
I got a 14 terabyte hard drive, bro. Like. And I did the calculations. I figured I'd be good. And then I made proxies for everything, which for all the youngsters out there, proxying's it. Quick video lesson. When you're editing a really big project that's high res, what pretty much everybody does to make it faster is they export smaller versions of each video and they edit that. And then they just replace those files later to explain it shortly. So your computer doesn't explode by trying to play 20 streams of 8K at the same time. So that's what I do, is to get IBC done, I proxy everything out to like 720 or 1080 or whatever. Like they're way smaller files. Like some of these are almost a terabyte a piece or something like that. And I got all of them on. And then when I went to make the proxies wouldn't fit. The problem with that is the proxy has to be exactly like the same as the other video. Like it has to be down to the frame, like the exact same length. So you can't trim one to get rid of data.
Oh yeah, because you were doing that thing where you were trimming your raw clips.
Yeah, I had to go back and trim all the raw clips and re-export them, and that takes a day a piece,
dude,
on the laptop I was using. So imagine that, like 20 of them.
I'm stressed.
Like that took so long. There were nights I woke up, I set an alarm and woke up at 4 a.m. to like start another one. And sometimes it wouldn't be done yet. And I'd have to set an alarm for an hour later and wake up again and then go back to sleep. So it's been stuff like that, or like my whole motherboard went bad like was just failing while we were in
London,
and I couldn't fix it. Like I can't keep working, and I'm not going to open this project and like potentially crash and corrupt it in the middle of like I'm not done yet. Like I literally cannot afford.
Was that what was going on in London?
To happen. Yes. So when I got back, I took it into Apple, and then that took several days to get my laptop back. And then we finally got Mac Studios here, so now I can actually like now I'm crushing it. Like it's taken me.
I think what I'm hearing is, and what you even said, it's like no one knows that though.
I did not expect that. Like
no one
I
planned
to the best of my ability to be able to like crush this like I usually do. But I tried pushing against the ceiling to make it better. Like we shot in higher res so we can crop and it's just unbelievably crispy. Like it's so crisp, and
Yeah.
that basically like the long and short of it is we pushed it up, and there were some things that I didn't know that I wasn't prepared for, and it ended up costing me a ton of time.
Unfortunately, you never know what you don't know. You only know what you know.
Yeah, so like I prepared for what I knew, and all that I know is the things that have gone wrong in years prior that I knew to prepare for. So like I knew where to like set people to do different things so that other things wouldn't happen from last year, and now it's like, yo, I got to trim these proxy. I got to trim the raw files first thing. That's the first thing I do.
Is that as a creative, I think the first step to getting out of your block is just owning it. Owning that, like, if you're like John and you had your motherboard fry and you've got 6K worth of footage
like on the other side of the planet.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know how long it's going to take them to get that back. I can't just like take it in and then ship it off and be like, oh yeah, we'll give it back to you in a week. I won't be here.
No, but like as long as if you can mentally own the fact that, like, you know, I mean, not to get super spiritual, it's repentance. It's, I made a mistake. I'm sorry. And turning around from that, right? So for me, if I hit a block where it's like I'm missing a deadline or I'm feeling overwhelmed and I can't get something done, take responsibility for it. Accept what's going on, identify the problem, and try to reprioritize what's happening. And I promise, like, if you're committed to that, right, grind through it, right? It's going to be thick mud that you're trying to pedal through, and it's just, you're going to feel like you're not going anywhere. And then at some point, all that energy that you've built up and that strength that you've put on, you're going to go to an event or something, or you're going to do some project, and it's going to feel like a breeze. And now it's like you're realizing your strengths and your weaknesses, and you can play into those, right? So shorter, I mean, we've been going for 30 minutes, so I don't even want to say it's a short podcast.
I knew it was going to go longer. I knew it.
But to wrap this up, this is probably what this is going to look like. Me and John probably talking a lot, bringing on some other people. As always, if you do want to hear anything specific, a topic, just email us at thecapturesociety@gmail.com. If you have someone you want to hear from specifically, then let me know that as well. But we're going to try to keep this pretty chill. At this point, we're not going to really give any type of schedule because, ta-da, I'm incredibly busy. So I don't want to overwhelm
there like some
myself.
Huge conference coming up or something that you're
There's
doing?
Something big coming up in a few weeks.
Something like national level?
Yeah, it rhymes with Youth Congress.
North America.
It's not South American Youth Congress.
Yeah. Ooh.
Which, speaking of which, I think I saw you comment something about
Canada.
Yeah, you do know that Canada is in North America, right?
Dude, honestly, like, it just feels wrong, though. That's my point.
Am I wrong, though? Right, I haven't had a geography lesson in a while. Canada is in North America.
It is. Right? But it doesn't count. Well, like, in my heart, it doesn't count.
But, like, why? Then does it not count that Brazil's in South America?
That's different. I don't live there. I have no dog in that fight. Canada is...
All right. Well, we're rambling. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. And I'm excited to start talking again. So we'll talk to you next time. Thanks for joining the Capture Society.
Bye.